All right. I did not even see you guys in the waiting room. Typically, the room's not locked, so I actually thought nobody was here until Joanne texted me. So good morning, y'all. Good morning again. Top of the morning to you guys. Listen, I got on the phones after we got off, and I booked an appointment already, 9:20 for sale by owner. Um, so I'm excited to be meeting with this guy tomorrow who says his wife's a realtor, and he tried to give her the listing, and she couldn't make anything happen. It just couldn't happen. So we're gonna reevaluate, see what we can do, but just excited for the opportunity. All right, so today's topic is negotiations. Before we get started, make sure your partners are here with us, unless they have an excuse absence with you. Make sure your partners are in the room. Make sure your partners are in the room. You guys asked to move this to today. So we're excited to bring this to you all. Is everyone partners in the room? If your partner is here and present, drop a 1 in the chat so we can know where we're at today. If your partner is not here, drop a 2. If you're missing any bone of your team, let me know. Drop a 2 if everyone's not here. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Who's missing, Nicola?
There's Sean. I'm checking with her right now.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. All right, so advanced negotiation skills. So what we have to think about, ladies, is that we got to think about outside the box. How do we think outside the box? So drop in the room so I can go over them. Drop in the room objections that you're getting from sellers right now. You're getting high interest rates. You're getting, I want to stay in my home. You're getting, I thought I can sell it for this amount. Talk to me. What objections are you getting? Drop it in the room. And then I've pulled a few of my own that I want to work with you guys. Drop the objections that you're getting.
From sellers, right?
Coach Jeff, hey Joanne, yeah, from the seller. One of the things that I notice is that the biggest thing is maybe when you get a chance, you can do it later on openings.
Openings?
Yeah, you can do that, later, but that was just something.
What do you mean openings?
Getting to the second part of the conversation.
Oh, like how to even win the seller over. Got it. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, so I want to sell it on my own. I don't want to pay the commission. I thought I could get more. I can sell it myself. Beautiful. Okay, cool. All right, so the number one thing is the reason that you may fall into is pricing. Okay, so pricing may be number one, the reason that you fall into. Okay. Now, when it comes to pricing, you guys have to always think about what is the motivation behind the price that they need to get. Okay. What is the motivation to the price that they need to get? Like, for example, they need to get 800,000 so they can do some other activities. Okay. Find out what those other activities are. Okay. The other activities may be I need to buy a place. The other activities may need I need to put my kid to college. My other activities may be I need to pay off debt. Find out what those activities are, because once you're able to identify what that activity is, you can navigate them through. So let's say, for example, Mrs. Seller, she wanted to net 800 so she can buy another property. What can we do? We can possibly work on getting them a seller's credit. In a market like this, we can work on getting them a seller's credit. So let's say, for example, they're short 20,000. Can we work on getting them a 3, 4, 5% concession on the other side? Okay. We have to be able to think about those stuff. Okay. Then also pricing, when we talk about pricing, we talk about what would happen if they don't get their price. Oh, I'll just have to do other activities. Oh, I just have to reconsider. Like what would happen if you don't get, so Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand you're asking 900,000 for your home. Question for you, what would happen if you got 850 for your home? Okay. Always ask those questions because those questions can lead you to getting the answers that you want. They may say, I will consider it. They may say, I cannot make this move at all. They may say it can open up a conversation. Once someone says it can open up a conversation, once someone says it can be discussed or reviewed, this automatically means that there's some opportunity where they can consider it. So you keep in your back of your mind now that I can possibly get this person 850 for their home, okay? Now, another opportunity is leveraging opportunities where they can cancel if they don't find the property they want. Okay. So, Mr. Seller, let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's put the house on the market. Let's go ahead and find you a property. But at the time that a contract is received on your home, we can make it contingent to you finding a property. Okay. Has everyone ever used that one before? Okay, I was seeing if it was on the addendum page. It's not on there. Has anyone ever used that one before?
Yes.
Beautiful. So you're letting the seller know that even though we get an offer on your home, if you don't find a property that you believe crosses your T's, dots your I's, and gets you exactly what you want, we can go ahead and cancel this. But let's go ahead and let's test out the market. Let's see what we can bring to the table. And then let's figure it out as we go on. Okay. Also, other negotiation tactics is, Mr. and Mr. Seller, one of the best things about you being the seller is that you now have access to decide when we close on your property. Okay. They decide. So the seller has the opportunity to decide when he or she wants to close on the property. Okay. So what you can either do is you can either put this in advance where you're writing this into the MLS. Seller would like to close no later than August 15th. Or when the offer comes in, you can now negotiate for them to get a later closing date. Okay. Another thing that you can do also is you can also work on a post occupancy. Okay, so Mr. Seller, let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's get your house on the market. Let's provide an opportunity where we can get it under contract and you can lease the property back. Okay, what would the lease be, Jeff? I don't know. Let's see what the comps are going for in the area for rental market values. And we can keep that in our mind. Okay, typically what happens is we have to remember when someone purchases a property in May, they don't get their first payment until July. And then they have until July 15th to pay that. So that gives a buyer some buffer room. But in essence, for the buyer giving us some buffer room, we're going to go ahead and we're going to compensate him. So sometimes you'll see the agent come back and they'll say, hey, you'll pay me whatever his mortgage payment is. Okay. So if his mortgage payment is 3,500, you'll just pay us 3,500. And now the seller can now decide, comps for 2,800. They want 3,500. Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle, 3,200, $3,400 a month. Okay. Okay. The next thing is understanding that typically their best offer is typically their first offer that comes in. Okay. So, Mr. Seller, let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's put the property on the market at 550. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's showcase the home. If any buyers submit any offers, we can use that to gauge if we're on price or below price or above price. Okay. And then based off of that, we can now decide, do we lower the price or do we increase the price? Okay. Has anyone ever tried that one before?
No, but I like that approach.
Yes. So that's an approach to gauge what's happening, okay? And then guess what, Mr. Seller, when 2-3 weeks combined, there are no offers that are coming in. We can now say that maybe they're not favorable for our price. Okay, we may need to consider decreasing the price now where we're at because we're not getting any traffic and we're not getting any offers. Okay, these are the conversations you have in advance with people so you can prepare them for what's going to happen and how you're going to spend your next 30, 60, 90 days with them. Okay. Now, the next thing is having the seller possibly do an inspection in advance. Okay. Having a seller do an inspection in advance, because now when the seller does the inspection in advance, you now have the information where you can price the property where you need it to be priced at. Number two, you can go ahead and give the credits that you need to give in advance. Or number three, you can advise to the buyers that this property is being sold in its as-is condition. Please review the inspection report because the seller will not be giving any credits. Okay. I did that one with the house that I had in Miami. I knew that it was going to be a fixer-upper. We held all showings until Saturday. We had it priced like right where we needed to be priced at. And we were able to sell it exactly for that dollar. We were priced at $350. The investor that bought it picked it up and sold it for like $450. But what we did was we had an inspection. So during the time that I did the open house, I was able to have the inspection given to everyone. They were able to walk the home and we let them know that we're taking offers today all the way until Monday. We're going to make a decision on Monday. So on Monday, we brought all the offers to the seller. We requested highest and best from all the candidates. And we were able to sell exactly for $350. I think like $355 is what we sold for, and we were listed for like $350. Okay, just recently. Okay. So that's another technique because now you're walking the buyers into what's happening with this home. They're educated, so it's not after the fact stuff. So they're not going to come back to you about the AC being dirty. They're not going to come back to you about the roof only having 5 years of life on it. They're not going to come back to you about the hot water heaters leaking. You're going to either know about these things. So now what you can do is you can either have the seller adjust it if they're in a space to do that financially. They can adjust the items, or what they can do is they can just go ahead and disclose it and provide a credit. Yep, that's exactly why we're giving a $1,000 credit because of that. Okay. Now I want to sell it on my own. Okay. So for example, sellers say they want to sell it on their own. The next question that you need to ask them is why do they want to sell it on their own? Okay. Because they're going to tell you, they're going to say, I don't trust realtors. They're going to say, I want to save the commission. They're going to say, I've sold properties on my own. They're going to say, I don't want to sign a contract. So we've peeled back the onion already. So now when I understand they don't want to pay the commission, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what type of commission were you willing to pay someone that brought you a qualified buyer? So if I brought you a qualified buyer, who would be the person that you'd be able to pay? Okay. Or what would you be able to pay? Okay. The reason I'm asking this question, ladies, is because I want to now gauge. I didn't want to pay anything. I possibly would pay 1%. I don't want to pay anything more than 2.5%. When you're getting these type of answers, you're gauging where you need to be at. So guess what? You guys probably wouldn't do this. Guess what? If they say, okay, I was only willing to pay 1%, that's good. Great. If there's a way where I can have you pay out your 1% and I can still show you value on why utilizing us, is there a chance where we can meet today for 5-10 minutes? She's still paying out her 1%. And you're still showing her how you can get value. Why are you doing that? Because this is going to be your new way into the door. You're going to utilize that 1% because maybe the 1% is what you need to pay out. Okay. And now what you need to do is you need to negotiate and give reasonings why they should now include a 2, 3, 4% compensation towards you, whatever your fee is. Okay. You guys follow me on that? Very quiet room today. Y'all must be prospecting.
Okay, how
No,
does that
right.
play out when they want to give you 1% for procuring a buyer?
Okay. So your goal is not to operate in the status of a buyer. Your goal is to operate in the status of the listing agent, the selling's agent, the seller's realtor, okay? So what you do is you now have to show them exactly what they need to net, okay? So Mr. Seller, let's say, for example, you were going to pay out 1%. This would be your net, okay? I've now presented to them. I've now gone over the whole spiel, everything that we can do. And I say, hey, imagine if you can get all of this services, you can get all of this work, you can get a true professional in the industry to complete all of this. And now all you have to do is you just have to pay me an additional 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. Okay. And now what you're doing is you're doing the math backwards for them. Okay. Because guess what? You're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this and that. Wow. Honestly, them paying you 2, 3%, they should probably pay you 6, 7, 8, 9%. You know what I mean? Because it's so much work that you're going to be doing. That's why you have to have that powerful presentation. Okay. Or what you do is you work the numbers backwards once again. You know that she needs to net this amount of money, but based off of the comps, I do this sometimes. I raise the price just a little bit. So let's say, for example, we were going to list for 952. Okay. I mean, 950. Okay. But her paying me that additional 2, 5, 6, 8%, whatever it is an additional 5,000, additional 7,000, additional 10,000. Mr. So let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's price the house at 960. So like that, you can cover what you're going to pay me plus that 1% that you've already educated yourself on paying out. And like that, we don't miss a beat. Okay. Because we know that a buyer is going to come in and want to negotiate, right? We know a buyer is going to come in and $10,000 spectrum is not going to stop them from seeing a house, you know, especially when the numbers are so close. Okay. I've utilized that so many times, and that has been my kind of my signature seal. Okay. We either work the numbers backwards, or if there's room for us to add it on top, we'll add it up on top, or we'll split it in, we'll split it in the middle. So what does split it in the middle mean? Let's say, for example, there was a $10,000 gap. Mrs. Seller, instead of pricing your house at 950, let's price it at 955. Now you're still making the money you wanted to make, but all you're doing is you're actually just paying me out $5,000 rather than 10,000. You see what I mean? Because psychology, you've rolled it into the price. Okay. You guys follow me? You guys with me?
Okay.
Yes.
So this is a strategy in presentation, but let's say, okay, we roll it into the price. We're 650. We price it at 655, but now we get an offer for 645.
That means that's all the property was worth. Regardless if you would have priced it at 640, you probably would have still got an offer for 640. Regardless if you would have priced it at 700, you would still got an offer for 640. Okay. That's what the price is worth. That's what the home is worth. Now, what are you going to do with that offer? You're going to either take that offer, you're going to counter, which if a buyer can understand that, hey, every 10,000 is like a $50 mortgage change or a $25 mortgage change, you can typically get them to that extra $10,000. You follow me?
Okay.
That comes with your negotiation skills.
Okay.
I'm getting on the phone with the realtor, and I'm going to say, hey, Kim, you're at 950, seller wants to be at 960, but really just $10,000 off. What can we do to buffer it? Okay, maybe that 950 now turns into 957. So now I can go back to the seller and say their highest and best is not 960, but it's 957.
Okay.
Somebody's background noise. I don't know who that is. Who is that?
A realtor by the name of Kimberly.
No, but she's muted on my side.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, you guys follow? Let me see. I can sell it myself. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I can sell the property myself. What experience do you have on selling properties? So what would I say? I'd say, hey, question, have you sold any real estate before? They're going to tell you yes, they're going to tell you no. Okay. So if they tell you yes, you're going to ask, when did they sell it? Was this 20 years ago? Was this 40 years ago? Was this 5 years ago? Was this 5 months ago? Because they probably could have just sold the property just last week on their own. So now they're confident. So this is more of a follow-up approach type of thing. Okay. While they were capable to sell their townhouse, this is now a single family home in a different area. I now need to follow up with them. Okay. But I want to ask them the question. So have they sold a property before? The answer is going to be no. Okay. What marketing are they going to be doing? Let's ask them, what marketing are they going to be doing? Are they going to be running ads? Are they going to be on Facebook Marketplace? Are they going to be on Facebook? Are they going to be on the MLS? What are they going to do to market and advertise this home? They're going to say, hey, I'm just going to be on Zillow for now. Okay, great. Okay, so I can probably go for the kill there and say, hey, if there's an opportunity where I can get you on Zillow plus 900 more websites or 400 more websites or 100 more websites, do you see, do you see value in that? If they see value in that, that means that there's now an opportunity where you can now meet with them and show them what that value is. Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm just going to stick with Zillow for right now. Okay, great. So you stated earlier that you have sold properties before. The answer is no. Okay, got it. So question for you, when someone does submit a contract, do you have a team that you're going to be working with to get you to the finish line? Like, do you have an attorney that's going to be looking over the contract for you? Do you have a title company that's going to be making sure there's no open liens, no violations on the home? Do you have an inspection company that you're going to be working with? Do you have a transaction coordinator that you're going to be working with to make sure that your dates are on time? Okay. Do you have someone that's going to be in your back corner in case anything happens to the inspection and you need someone to go over the inspection report so you're not dishing out money that you kind of don't need to and you can probably negotiate or not do? So what I'm doing is I'm pulling out everything that's a part of a transaction and asking them, are they going to be handling this? Do they have someone to handle this? Okay, yeah, we have an attorney. Great. So question for you, the attorney that's going to be helping you through the process and the closing, is that attorney going to be showing the property for you? Are they going to be able to be educated on the area and understand what buyers are looking for? Are they going to also be at the inspection to make sure that the inspector is doing what's right and he's not breaking anything? Question for you, what about the appraisal? Is that attorney going to be at the appraisal to ensure that the appraiser has comps that are comparable to your home to get you top dollar? Okay. I'm just putting the bug in their mind to let them know about what's happening, what's happening, what's happening. Okay. And then from there, I have to now get the answers. I now have to get the answers that I need to get me to my next question. Okay. No, the attorney's not going to do this, but my friend's in real estate. Okay. So now if they say my friend's in real estate and my friend is going to guide them through the process, I need to now ask them, what is their friend going to do for them? Okay. So now they're going to say, my friend is going to list the property if it doesn't work out. Great. So now I understand that they have a relationship with this friend. But what did I have to do? I had to peel back a lot of layers to get the questions that I need, because at the end of the conversation, although I may be on the phone with this person for 5 minutes, I may now say, this is not my client. This is not my seller. You understand? This is not the customer that I need to be a part of. Okay. Now, next thing is talk about. Okay, the next thing is talking about seller's concessions. Okay, educating the seller. Hey, I kind of want to sell my house, but I don't want to do any repairs to it, so I don't think that I can possibly, get top dollar for the home. Hey, have you ever heard about seller's concessions, where you're now giving a concession towards the buyer so they can go deal with the roof, they can go deal with the plumbing, they can go deal with the electrical, they can go deal with the termites. Okay. I'm giving them this opportunity to now let them know how can they navigate, or Mr. Seller, as you do understand, rates are the biggest issue why people are not buying properties right now. Let's say, for example, we can include a seller's concession of 1 or 2%. So now we're priced at 450. Imagine if we can give the buyer $4,000 so they can buy down the rate. Okay. They can buy down the rate. Would you now be more inclined to get your property on the market? These are a lot of stuff that sellers do not know about, and they don't know that they can do. Therefore, they kind of think that it's just this traditional 4 boxes type of opportunities out here. And they don't think that, hey, there's other opportunities where I can target other people. Okay. You guys following me?
Absolutely.
The next one, I thought I can get more for the property. Okay. So when someone says they thought that they can get more for the property, we all wish we can get $1 million for our home that's only worth 300. But at the end of the day, Mr. Seller, the buyers is who set the market. Okay. The traffic that we're receiving day in and day out, that is what is navigating us through the market. Okay. Be okay with having transparent, honest, truthful conversations with people rather than fluff and opportunities where they can't see themselves actually getting to the finish line because it's so far-fetched. Be upfront in the beginning and let them know that, hey, while our goal can be to do this, at the end of the day, it's not going to get us closer to the goal of being in Chicago in 5 months. Okay. And then also talk to people about, so what I also do is it's okay to test out the market. Okay. Mr. Sully, give me a second, y'all.
While he's on the call, did you guys catch the last thing about checking the market? Did anybody catch that last part?
I think he's probably not finished with the thought. It's probably to test it out at a particular price, but then go down to what's more realistic based on what the buyers will come back with.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
That's exactly it. Testing out the market is giving the opportunity of us trying a price out, but having my price change form with me. Okay. My price change form with me. So, Ms. Marcel, let's go and let's put the property on the market today for 1.35. Let's go ahead and test it out for 2 weeks. If we get no calls, no traffic, it's not where we need to be. And you need to be in Chicago in the next 5 months. Let's go ahead and let's sign off on the price change negotiation form right here, where you can now give me the authorization to lower the price to 1.1 or 1 million or 1.2 once we hit this target date. Okay. But in the meantime, we're going to continue doing open houses. We're going to continue promoting your place. We're going to continue talking to it with every realtor, every buyer, every seller that's out there that we possibly know. But at the time that we get to April 15th, we get to March 20th, we get to June 16th, and we don't see that we're getting any offers that are closer to getting you to the finish line, let's go ahead and let's reduce the price.
That's a great approach, Coach Jeff. Did you mention that there is a form that you would like pre-structure on that?
Yep, it's the status change form.
Got you. Thank you.
Coach Jeff, would you suggest this in the listing appointment, like already putting in the strategy in the listing agreement?
Yep. Well, you don't put it in the listing agreement, you put it in the status change form.
Hey, Coach. So I noticed early, I want to say, well, no, late last year, there were like situations where some of the seller agents would price the home like really, really low in order to have potential buyers offer like highest and best as a strategy. Do you recommend that at all?
Most definitely. So one of the one things that you can always do is you can always tell the sellers that we want to bid it up. So Ms. Marcella, let's go ahead and let's price it where we're not pricing it at the height of the market. We're pricing it right where we're going to get multiple showings, multiple offers, because like this, we can possibly get an opportunity where we call for multiple offers. And now we can definitely get you a little bit more money, maybe $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 more. I think that's a great approach, especially when you're dealing with a listing that has so much competition in the same development. So let's say, for example, you're dealing with a condominium, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, 950 square feet. There's 10 of them on the market. I'm going to price mine below so I can blow out everyone else's. Or single family homes. Looks like every house in the area is going for about 300, 350 a square foot. Let's go ahead and let's price ours for 550 while everyone else is priced at 575, 600. Because not only are you going to get the property off the market sooner, you're going to be able to pull more traffic because people are going to be like, hey, when I see these two homes and I see your home's a better buy. So now if I can get the seller 2, 3 offers, I can put them next to each other. I can definitely call for that multiple offer situation. That's a gimmick that needs to be used all the time, not just during COVID or around that time. I think that's an opportunity that I utilize it anytime that I can.
Got it. I asked because I noticed in the Miami Shores area, there's a lot of homes that have been going up for sale. And I do see that there are a few that are for sale by owners. So I wanted to see if maybe that would work with some
Oh,
of them.
definitely.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Especially if you have a lot of FISBOs, that's a great area to drive and knock. What I would do is I'd create brochures, little brochures about what's happening in Miami Shores, how can you assist them with their goals, and I would go and drop those off at those people's doors.
No, thank you.
Imagine if you get all the for sale by owners in that area. It'd be a winning day, right?
For sure.
Okay. Now, when the offer comes in, how do I best negotiate the offer? One of the things you have to do when the offer comes in is that you have to best negotiate the offer on how does it benefit the seller, okay? How does it benefit the seller? So, for example, if you see on there that they're asking you to pay special assessments at the time of closing, no, the seller will pay special assessments at the time that we close on the property. They're not going to pay it any after, you know? Can I get a tighter inspection period? Can I get a tighter loan approval time? Can I get a tighter opportunity of doing a closing? I'm gonna tell you, this just happened to me last week. We received the HOA approval on a cash deal on Monday. The buyer was supposed to sign on Friday. I had told her that it would be on or before. So I said, hey, let's go ahead and let's close on Tuesday. So like that, we can be done with this, you know? She's like, no, we're going to leave it to the regular closing date, which was Friday. Listen to this, okay? So Friday comes, he's in Colombia and he cannot wire the money. The money's being sent back to his account every time he tries to wire it. I said, you see, this is exactly why I wanted to close on Tuesdays, because I said anything can happen. And this is exactly what happened. So guess what? I went back to the sellers and I said, hey, since they cannot close on time, we could do one or two things. We can either take their deposit, we can charge them a per diem until they close, or we can go ahead and just give them a free extension. Okay. The seller decided to go ahead with the per diem. So we're now charging the people $100 a day until they finally are going to close this upcoming Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Okay. But in efforts to make the process as tight for the sellers, because anything can happen. As soon as you can close on a file, close on it. Because who would have known that this man would have tried to wire the money? He wasn't able to send them money because he's in Colombia, and now the money has to go back, and we have to figure out another alternative. But guess what? If we would have closed on Tuesday, like I originally asked, we would have figured out that there was some hiccups, and we would have seen how can we get those hiccups handled between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, than waiting for the last hour. Okay. So when you get an offer, ladies and gentlemen, you want to make sure that you're fine-tuning the dates as much as you can so that it's in favor of the customer that you're working with, so that they can make sure that they get to their obligations. Maybe the seller may want a 20-day inspection period, okay, because they're fixing something in the house and they don't want the inspection to be done all the way until like the last minute, you know? Maybe they want a longer closing date because it gives them time to find a new home. Okay. So sometimes it's working in the opposite, but finding out those right things in advance, it makes you not only look like a better agent, but you present better when you're working with the agent on the other side. Okay. You guys are familiar with the net sheet already. What other objections are we having?
How do you handle, because I'm gonna do a pre-foreclosure, how do you handle clients who already are short with funds on getting their house at least minimally prepared, like pictures, a little bit of cleanup in their home, that at least you're compensated back if you put it out there first, if you pay for it basically ahead of time?
So you got to get an agreement with the homeowner that if there are any proceeds that he or she's going to be receiving, that they will sign off on it and they would pay you back at the time of closing. One of the best things about the foreclosures, though, is that you kind of want them to not look good when you are selling them. You want to get the best offers for them, but you also want to show to the bank that if there's a hardship that's going on. So a lot of times if you could just do exterior photos and allow the interior to be shown at the time people physically see the property, then that's more of an avenue that you want to go with, especially if you don't have an approved short sale just yet. Understand the bank is going to come out, they're going to do their BPOs, they're going to do what they need to do. So it's best that the house looks like a tornado has gone through it rather than all cleaned up and magazine looking.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And it's just the truth. But if a seller ever needs to reimburse you for something, you just want to get it up in writing, you know, or sometimes you just have to negotiate it. I literally painted these people's wall, had their house pressure cleaned because the way the house looked before is not showcase ready and it's not the way that I want to operate. So I said, let's go ahead and let's do this. I'll pay for it. And at the end of the time when we sell the property, if you guys want to give me a bonus, go ahead and give me a bonus and we'll take it from there.
What the rebuttal is concerned towards the fees that they have to pay, like either attorney or the bank fees that they have to pay during that time frame.
So typically if they are doing a short sale, is that what you're speaking of?
Yeah.
Yeah, so typically if they're doing a short sale, they're not paying anything to anyone. Everything that's paid is paid by the bank during the time of the short sale. If they had retained an attorney on their own, probably to fight the time
Right.
from us getting foreclosed, and that's on them. They decided to pay the attorney rather than paying their mortgage. So hopefully the attorney was doing what she needed to do, and basically it's buy them time. So and typically the attorneys collect their money every single month.
So
You
they're a
follow?
retainer. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Of course. Anyone else?
Yeah, so with the foreclosure, because she's
Mm-hmm.
already received her list pending this month. Do
Mm-hmm.
what I was gonna do is have the listing, when I help her, communicate with her lender, have it stop the foreclosure process. Or does that
They
have
won't, they
to?
won't, they won't ever do that. I don't know if you've worked short sales or foreclosures before. They won't ever do that. So what you need to do is, although you're going to be speaking to the bank, you can just let the bank know that we're placing the property on the market. Here's a copy of the MLS sheet. Here's a copy of the listing agreement. We are going to be placing the property on the market. So that can sometimes buy you some more time. But just because someone was given a list pendants doesn't mean that they were served with a foreclosure sale date just yet.
Right. I was just wondering, do I also need short sale approval, or would the listing suffice
What do you mean a short sale approval? Short sale approval to do what?
to sell the house?
No, the only time you need a short sale approval is if you're selling the house for less than what is worth. I mean, less
Okay.
than what is owed.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so
Okay.
if she owes $500,000 on the mortgage, but the house is only worth $300,000, now you're selling it as a short sale and you need a short sale approval. If there's equity in the home and she's able to walk away with her equity, still pay the bank, then it's a traditional sell.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Coach Chef, how do you find out if a potential seller has like a second lien without doing a title search ahead of time?
You would need to ask them.
Right. I mean, yes, outside of asking them, because I stumbled on that situation recently. A colleague of mine had a property listed for sale, got an offer. When they were just about to close, it was discovered that there was another lien somehow. So now
What was
they
that
have
lien
to,
for?
pardon?
What was that lien for?
It seemed to have been some kind of what do you call it? Like a second mortgage type of thing.
Yeah, so they took it out at some point in time and they just forgot about it. That's shame on them.
Right. Yeah, because now it's gone to short sale. It has to be a short sale type of transaction now.
Okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So one of the one things that you can always do is you can always search that stuff on IMAP. You can always go to IMAP and see if there's any other notices that are recorded on the property.
Mm-hmm.
If there's not, then you may want to partner up with a title company and say, hey, we're not too sure if there is another mortgage on here. Do you mind running a pencil search or a lien search or a title search, whatever that is?
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, because at least you're still live on the market, and while you're live on the market, at least you can still like try to figure it out, you know?
Right, right. Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay. When it comes to negotiating, I think one of the best things that you have to do is you have to think about what is the best thing for the customer. What is the best way that we're going to get the customer to the finish line? And what are some things that we can do, you know? So once again, it goes back to having that list because maybe you need the painter. It goes back to maybe you need to have that title company partner. Maybe you need to have that home inspector partner where you're able to call them, you know, and assist them because like for example, if you're thinking about getting a listing but you don't know if there's a second mortgage on there, I should be able to have ties with a title company where they're able to do me a solid, and then hopefully I'm able to send them the file once we get it under contract, you know what I mean? But having those relationships can provide you the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so I heard Dr. Karen say earlier today about openings. Okay, so openings are, if you're struggling with openings, drop a 3 in the chat. If you're struggling with openings,
What kind of, sorry.
all right, seems like you guys have it all figured out. So you guys are getting on the phones, you guys are talking to the sellers,
No,
and
Coach Chef, I'm sorry, I was trying to get through. I want some, so give us some.
okay. All right, cool. So I'm getting on the phone with John, for example. Let me just do this. Let me just make some calls right now. Make some live calls right now. 954-410. Mm. What's going on over there? forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please. Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone. How they selling their house? They ain't answering the phone.
You calling for sale by owners?
Uh-huh. Roof is nowhere around. What's going on, Roof? Hey, good morning. This is Jeff calling about the Boca Raton property. Is this the homeowner? Hey, brother, hope all is well with you. Want to see if you had about 10 or 15 minutes we can meet today and talk a little bit more about the house?
Really don't.
You don't?
Really don't. I'm getting ready to leave town, and I'm really busy at work right now.
Okay. When do you go out of town?
I leave tonight.
Okay, got it. When do you expect yourself to be back?
I'll be back for about 10 days.
About 10 days? Okay. Is it possible maybe I can touch bases with you about 8 days?
Are you a realtor?
I am a real estate broker, yeah.
Yeah, my wife's a realtor also.
Oh, nice.
We haven't listed the house yet. We just threw it up on the owner. But right now, we're not listing it until we get back. She'll be listing it.
Of course. Well, I would hope so, right? Is she active? She's an active real estate broker in Boca?
Real estate broker, yes.
Beautiful. All right, best of luck to you guys, okay? And if you guys need anything, maybe I can just send you my information.
Can you do that? Pull that in. I think I'm all good.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. Safe travels. His wife's a realtor. Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, you warmed them up immediately. That was great.
I did how?
Hey, brother, hope all is well.
Oh, okay, good. All right, I didn't even realize. Thank God to that.
Hey, Coach. So before we go, can you go through a little bit of what the process is like when you're doing a short sale? Because it's something that's piquing my interest.
Time consuming.
I can imagine.
So with the short sales, number one, you first need to identify, is there equity or is there not equity? If there's not equity, it's automatically going to go into a short sale. I need to identify who the banks are that represent the lien. Okay, so if there's an HOA, I need to make sure that I have all their information. I have a payoff from what their delinquent amount is, or maybe they're not delinquent. So if they're not delinquent, I'm in good standings. Okay, so now all I need to worry about is worry about the bank. So now I need to go into the bank's website. Okay, go into the bank's website, figure out what documents do they need to process a short sale. They probably need a 4506T. They probably need the buyer's bank statements. They probably need their last pay stubs. They probably need a hardship letter. They probably need an offer, the MLS sheet. I need to identify what is it that I need from them, get that all together. Now I need to go ahead and list the property, okay? I need to list the property based on the comparables of what the area is, but I also need to take into consideration what's happening with this home. Is it in great condition where somebody can move in tomorrow, or does it need work? Okay, so if it needs work, I need to factor in how much work does it need, 80,000, 70,000, 100,000, okay? And then I need to go ahead and price the property based off of that. I get all the offers. I still select which is the best offer. I send that off to the bank and I wait for the bank to give me an approval or a denial. Okay, once the bank gives me an approval, we go off to closing, you know? Now, what happens with the short sales is that sometimes you'll see people do contract dates inside of the short sale, or sometimes they'll say they want to do their contract dates once the short sale letter is provided. You have to understand if they decide to do their contract dates once the short sale letter is provided, that means 3 months from now they can cancel at any time. It also means that if you have a sell date that's around the corner, it can't take them 30 days to get their loan. Okay. There's a lot of little pieces a part of a short sale that you definitely want to make sure that you're aware of because you don't want to miss out. Okay. You don't want to miss out on dates. Like, for example, if they have a sell date on a property, you know what I mean? You don't want to miss out on that. You want to make sure that you're ahead of the schedule to be watching for that, you know?
Got it. And just so I'm clear, that differs slightly from an actual pre-foreclosure and a foreclosure, or is it?
A foreclosure, the bank has already taken possession of the property. A pre-foreclosure is someone that happens to maybe want to do a short sale. I could be a pre-foreclosure and have equity in my home. I just haven't paid my mortgage, or I haven't paid whoever, anyone can put me in foreclosure. Okay, my HOA can put me in foreclosure. I owe the contractor, he can put me into foreclosure. I own taxes on my property, can put me into foreclosure. Anything can put them into foreclosure, okay? And that's what makes them into the pre-foreclosure stage because they can always get out of it before the house is actually foreclosed on. And sometimes they're just like in debt, you know, they're in debt. They need to do a bankruptcy, they need to do a short sale, they need to do a deed in lieu, they need to do a loan modification, they may be able to do a traditional sale. um every scenario is different. So as you're making the calls and you're getting the appointments, if you want Dr. Karen not to join you on those appointments, you definitely want to make sure you embed yourself into our calendars, and we'd love to walk you guys through that.
Thank-
We went on an appointment yesterday with one of our other coaching students, and it's a follow-up opportunity, but it's still an appointment that I was able to go on with this girl. I think her name is Candace. And meet the seller, and she was able to see what we do and how we navigate and how we get the answers to the questions that we need answered and those type of stuff. So keep that in mind. Oh, there you go, Chelsea. How was that appointment? You got some feedback?
I did. It was great.
Oh, nice.
She learned a lot from you, and just hearing you on how you presented and stuff. She went in confident with you by her side.
Oh, nice. Beautiful. 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 Awesome. Tesca just dropped in here. Haas Pratt is doing some live calls today. If you want to jump on that, you're definitely welcome to do that. Okay. All right, y'all. Anything else for the good of the order? Anything else for the good of the order? All right, so in conclusion, when it goes to be meeting with a seller, always be prepared to think outside the box. Okay. Like, always be prepared. I literally took a West Park listing, y'all, by meeting these people at Lauderhill, their little $180,000 condo. And I saw that the house was dirty. I saw the house needed to be painted. I saw the house needed to be pressure cleaned. And then from there, they told me they had another property in West Park that I signed that same day for 570. Okay. I thought outside the box more. This wasn't expired, by the way. I thought outside the box more than the other agent did. I went aggressively into work. I called my handyman. Okay. After I called my handyman, I was able to find another handyman that was across the street, get him over there, get a quote from him. I had 2 quotes. This is all in like minutes. Okay. This is all in like minutes. So I definitely thank you guys for this opportunity, but continue to understand how can I get more transactions by having more conversations and how having more results. You know, results is what drives people to want to work with you. Make it a great day. Reach out to Teshka if you're interested in that Haas Prac segment. Catch you guys later.
Bye-bye. Have a good
Thank you so much.
Thank you.